Welcome to Globewise Entertainment. Today we're diving into the golden age of Hollywood, where glitz and glamour reigned supreme, but not every star followed the traditional path of faith. Glowing star in this video, we'll uncover 20 legendary celebrities who refused to believe in God, from Oscar-winning icons to rebellious rule-breakers who challenged religious norms. If you love classic Hollywood and untold stories, hit that subscribe button now and turn on the notifications bell so you never miss an update from Globewise Entertainment. Let's get started. 1. Katharine Hepburn, 1907 to 2003. Katharine Hepburn, a life without faith. Katharine Hepburn, one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses, was known not just for her talent but for her fierce independence and unconventional views. Born in 1907 in Hartford, Connecticut, she was raised by progressive parents. Her father was a doctor who advocated for public health, and her mother was a suffragist fighting for women's rights. From an early age, Katharine was taught to question everything, including religion. As a child, Hepburn struggled with the idea of God. She saw no logical reason to believe in an all-powerful deity controlling human lives. Tragedy struck when her beloved older brother, Tom, died by suicide when she was just 13. Devastated, she searched for answers but found no comfort in religious explanations. Instead of turning to faith, she turned inward, relying on her own strength and reason. As she grew older, Hepburn became more vocal about her beliefs. Unlike many stars of her era who conformed to societal expectations, she openly stated, "I'm an atheist and that's it. I believe there's nothing we can know except that we should be kind to each other and do what we can for each other." Throughout her career, she rejected religious dogma, preferring science, philosophy, and personal integrity over faith. She believed that morality wasn't dictated by a higher power but by human decency. Despite her disbelief, Hepburn lived by a strong ethical code. She was generous, fearless, and unafraid to speak her mind. Until her death in 2003, she remained firm in her stance, proving that a life without religion could still be one of meaning, kindness, and great success. 2. Cary Grant, 1904 to 1986. Cary Grant, the skeptic behind the charm. Cary Grant, the suave, effortlessly charming star of North by Northwest and Bringing Up Baby, was a man who exuded confidence on screen. But behind the tailored suits and the dazzling smile, Grant was a deep thinker, a man who questioned everything including religion. Born Archibald Alec Leach in Bristol, England in 1904, Grant's childhood was marked by hardship. His father placed his mother in a mental institution when he was just 9 years old, telling young Archie she had died. It wasn't until he was in his 30s that he discovered the truth. His mother was alive and had been kept away from him for decades. This betrayal shattered his trust, not only in his father but in the idea of a just and loving God. As he rose to fame in Hollywood, Grant developed a fascination with science, philosophy, and the human mind. He rejected religious dogma and sought answers in psychology and psychedelics, even experimenting with LSD therapy in the 1950s to explore his own consciousness. Although he never publicly declared himself an atheist, he was widely regarded as an agnostic, questioning the existence of God but unwilling to commit to belief or disbelief. To Grant, life was an adventure to be explored, not a divine plan to be followed. Despite his skepticism, Grant remained a kind and generous person, focusing on human connection rather than religious faith. In his later years, he spoke more about love, self-discovery, and personal happiness than about any higher power. Cary Grant may have been Hollywood's most debonair leading man, but behind the screen, he was a thinker, a seeker, and ultimately, a man who found meaning in life, not in faith. 3. Marlene Dietrich, 1901 to 1992. Marlene Dietrich, a rebel with a divine defiance. Marlene Dietrich was born in 1901 in Berlin, a city steeped in tradition yet pulsing with the spirit of change. From a young age, Marlene sensed that the world was too vast and unpredictable to be confined by the rigid doctrines of organized religion. As she grew into a dazzling star of the silver screen, her life became a bold statement of independence, one where the human spirit took center stage, and the notion of a controlling deity was cast aside. In Hollywood's golden era, while many clung to conventional beliefs, Marlene embraced an entirely different path. To her, religion wasn't a beacon of truth but rather a tool of societal control, a way to box in the wild, creative energy that fueled her performances and personal philosophy. Her glamorous presence and fearless persona resonated with audiences worldwide, not just for her cinematic brilliance but for her unapologetic defiance of the norms of her time. Marlene's rejection of traditional faith was not born of disdain but from a deep-seated belief in personal freedom and authenticity. In every role she played and every note she sang, she celebrated the beauty of individuality over the confines of dogma. Her life reminds us that sometimes, the true path to enlightenment is found in questioning the status quo and daring to live life on your own terms. This is the story of Marlene Dietrich, a symbol of artistic rebellion and a lasting testament to the power of living without boundaries, both on screen and in spirit. 4. James Dean, 1931–1955. James Dean, the rebel who questioned God. James Dean, the brooding Hollywood icon of the 1950s, lived fast and died young, leaving behind a legacy of rebellion, mystery, and existential doubt. Raised in a religious household, Dean's early years were marked by tragedy. His mother died when he was just 9, and he was sent to live with his deeply Christian aunt and uncle in Indiana. But instead of turning to faith for comfort, he turned away from it. Dean was fascinated by philosophy, especially existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, who questioned the meaning of life and the existence of God. He often debated the idea of a higher power with friends, saying, "If there is a God, he's not watching me." He struggled with the concept of a predetermined fate and instead believed in personal freedom and the randomness of life. His experiences in Hollywood only fueled his skepticism. He saw how the industry's religious figures often masked corruption and hypocrisy. Dean was drawn to deep, intellectual discussions about life, death, and destiny, but he never found answers in religion. His tragic death in a car crash at just 24 years old added to the legend of his restless spirit. Some say he was reckless, some say he was searching, but one thing was certain: James Dean never found comfort in God, only in the freedom of questioning everything. 5. Hedy Lamarr, 1914–2000. Hedy Lamarr, a mind beyond faith. Hedy Lamarr wasn't just a Hollywood star. She was a genius ahead of her time. Born in 1914 in Austria to Jewish parents, she grew up in a world that would soon be torn apart by war. As a child, she was naturally curious, questioning everything, including religion. Her skepticism deepened when she witnessed the rise of Nazi Germany. Many religious leaders either stayed silent or sided with the powerful, and Hedy struggled to see how an all-powerful God could allow such horrors. This disillusionment led her to reject faith, believing that science and human innovation, not divine intervention, were the true forces shaping the world. She later moved to Hollywood, dazzling audiences with her beauty, but behind the scenes, her mind was busy with something else: inventing technology that would one day help create Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. She saw science as her guiding force, not religion. When asked about God, she reportedly dismissed the idea, saying she believed in logic, intelligence, and human progress over faith. To her, the real miracles weren't divine. They were the ones people created with their own minds. 6. Spencer Tracy, 1900–1967. Spencer Tracy, the faith he couldn't keep. Spencer Tracy was a Hollywood legend, an actor known for his deep, emotional performances and rugged, no-nonsense personality. But behind the camera, he struggled with something far more personal: his faith. Born in 1900 to a devout Catholic family, Tracy was raised with strict religious teachings. As a young man, he even considered becoming a priest. But life had other plans. When he entered Hollywood, fame and fortune exposed him to a world far removed from the one he was taught to believe in. However, it wasn't success that shook his faith. It was personal tragedy. His son, John Tracy, was born deaf. Despite prayers, church visits, and desperate pleas to God, nothing changed. Tracy wrestled with guilt and anger, questioning why an all-powerful God would allow such suffering. He remained deeply troubled, often turning to alcohol to cope. Though he never publicly declared himself an atheist, those close to him knew he had abandoned traditional religious beliefs. He still respected Catholicism, but faith no longer held the answers he once sought. By the time of his death in 1967, Tracy had lived a life full of contradictions, a man raised to believe, but unable to believe anymore. 8. Charlie Chaplin, 1889 to 1977. Charlie Chaplin's journey toward skepticism about traditional notions of God began long before he became a silver screen legend. Born into the hardships of 19th-century London, Chaplin witnessed the raw, unfiltered struggles of life from an early age, experiencing poverty, loss, and the bitter realities of a society often bound by outdated traditions. As he navigated the world of vaudeville and later the burgeoning film industry, Chaplin saw firsthand how institutions, including organized religion, sometimes masked hypocrisy and failed to offer genuine solace to those suffering. In his eyes, the rigid dogmas and rituals preached by many religious leaders were a far cry from the unpredictable beauty of everyday human life. Instead of finding comfort in prescribed doctrines, he found his inspiration in the human spirit's capacity for resilience, creativity, and compassion. Through his art, especially in films like Modern Times and The Great Dictator, Chaplin championed the idea that laughter, empathy, and individual action were powerful forces for change. Qualities he believed far outweighed the limits imposed by traditional religious beliefs. For him, true divinity was not found in a distant, doctrinal God, but in the shared experiences and inherent dignity of humanity itself. Thus, while never making a grand public declaration of atheism, Charlie Chaplin's life and work spoke volumes about his preference for a humanistic approach over rigid religious constructs, a legacy that continues to resonate with those who see beauty in the imperfect, unfiltered tapestry of life. 9. Bette Davis, 1908 to 1989. Bette Davis. A life of strength without faith. Bette Davis, one of Hollywood's most formidable actresses, was known for her fiery spirit, relentless ambition, and sharp wit. But behind the scenes, her views on religion were shaped by a life filled with hardship, betrayal, and personal struggles, leading her to question the existence of God. Born in 1908, Davis was raised in a strict New England household, where religion played a traditional role. However, her childhood was marked by pain when her father abandoned the family, forcing her mother to raise her and her sister alone. This early experience of loss and hardship planted the first seeds of doubt in her mind. As she rose to fame in Hollywood, Davis encountered more reasons to question faith. She was known for her strong-willed independence and refusal to conform to societal norms. Through failed marriages, betrayals, and professional rivalries, she often found herself relying on her own strength rather than divine intervention. One of the biggest turning points came when she lost close friends and loved ones to illness and misfortune. Witnessing suffering, even among those who were deeply religious, reinforced her belief that if there was a God, he was indifferent at best. In interviews, Davis rarely spoke about religion, but those close to her knew she was skeptical of the idea of an all-powerful deity. Instead of faith, she relied on resilience, hard work, and sheer determination to navigate her life and career. To Bette Davis, success and survival were not granted by a higher power but earned through one's own efforts. 10. Orson Welles, 1915 to 1985. Orson Welles, the man who questioned God. Orson Welles, the genius behind Citizen Kane, grew up surrounded by contradictions. His father, an alcoholic inventor, and his mother, a pianist and advocate for progressive ideas, exposed him to both chaos and culture. Raised without strict religious teachings, Welles developed a deep love for literature, philosophy, and theater. As a child, he questioned authority, and as he grew older, he questioned the very existence of God. The horrors of World War II, the hypocrisy he saw in religious institutions, and his admiration for rationalist thinkers pushed him further toward atheism. He once remarked, "I have found no evidence of God. He seems to be an invention of man." Despite his skepticism, Welles was fascinated by religious themes in storytelling. His films explored power, morality, and fate, often depicting the struggle between belief and doubt. But in his own life he never found faith, only the art of illusion, which to him was the real magic of existence. And there you have it, 20 Golden Age celebrities who refused to believe in God. Whether they were atheists, agnostics, or simply skeptics, these Hollywood icons challenged the norms of their time and lived by their own beliefs. What do you think about their views? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to Globewise Entertainment for more amazing content. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.